Import declarations and the role of the importer. Under customs law, the obligation to file an import declaration rests with the importer of record, IOR. This party is legally responsible for submitting the declaration and paying all duties, taxes, and fees due. While many importers appoint a licensed customs broker to act as their agent in preparing and transmitting the declaration, the liability for compliance remains with the importer itself. Customs authorities such as U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, Japan Customs, or the EU Customs Administrations review the submitted declarations, verify tariff classifications, and calculate duties payable. By contrast, carriers and freight forwarders are limited to transportation responsibilities and have no legal authority to file import declarations. Understanding these distinctions is essential. If the roles are confused, for example, if a carrier is mistakenly treated as the importer, this can cause clearance delays, non-compliance findings, and even administrative penalties. Tariff classification and HS codes. The amount of customs duty payable depends on the tariff classification of the goods. This classification follows the Harmonized System, HS, developed by the World Customs Organization, WCO. The HS is standardized worldwide up to the 6-digit level. Beyond 6 digits, each country expands the code to create its own national tariff schedule. For example, the Harmonized Tariff Schedule of the United States, HTS, the Japan Tariff Schedule, or the EU Combined Nomenclature. Correct classification is not just a technical exercise. It determines not only the duty rate but also whether goods are subject to quotas, licensing requirements, or preferential duty treatment under free trade agreements. Misclassification can lead to overpayment or underpayment of duties. In serious cases, it may result in audits, retroactive duty assessments, or civil penalties. For that reason, the ability to classify products accurately and consistently is regarded as one of the most critical competencies in customs compliance. Customs valuation and dutiable value. Alongside classification, customs authorities must also establish the dutiable value of the imported goods. The rules governing customs valuation are harmonized internationally under the WTO Agreement on Implementation of Article 7 of the GATT 1994, the Customs Valuation Agreement. The primary method is the transaction value, that is, the price actually paid or payable for the goods when sold for export to the country of importation. However, each jurisdiction applies different adjustments to this base value. In the United States, the customs value is generally determined on an FOB, free on board, basis. This means international freight and insurance are excluded, and the value is taken at the port of export. In Japan and the European Union, customs valuation is generally determined on a CIF, cost, insurance, and freight, basis, which includes the transaction value plus international freight and insurance up to the port of importation. Errors in valuation, whether intentional or not, can create significant compliance risks. Undervaluation may lead to penalties and reputational harm, while overvaluation increases cost unnecessarily. Conclusion. Customs duties form a cornerstone of international trade law and directly influence cost structures, pricing strategies, and compliance obligations. For businesses engaged in cross-border trade, 3 pillars are fundamental. The importer of record's responsibility for filing declarations. Correct tariff classification under the harmonized system. Accurate customs valuation. By mastering these elements, companies can minimize penalties, reduce costs, and ensure smoother trade flows. Ultimately, strong customs compliance is not only a legal obligation but also a competitive advantage in the global marketplace.